Smile.
But I'm not happy.
People are staring. I don't want to do this.
You have to. They'll know
No one
something's
cares
wrong.
about your
Why
life.
is that bad?
Nobody cares. They won't understand.
I want to go home.
You'll hurt their feelings.
This was ridiculous. What are
Why
we even
just
talking
talking
about?
like
Just
you
want
want
to
to
keep them
like
happy.
you? What if they
They're
think
gonna
you're
be
stupid?
mean.
Just keep them happy.
Just keep them happy.
Just lie.
I'm not here to sugarcoat, life's already a bumpy road. Too much shelter causes pain, let's just be real honest. Things are gonna knock you down, avoidance will not help you out. Let's talk it through, here me and you, let's keep it real honest.
Hi, welcome back, or welcome for the first time to Real Honest, the podcast where I share candid thoughts and feelings about life, love, and relationships, God and church, adulting, the workplace, and all the things in between. I am your host. My name is Samantha, and you probably won't always like me, but I will always be honest with you. Quick PSA for all the ladies out there. I was MIA for the past few weeks because I was dealing with bad anemia. So if you happen to have an abnormally heavy period followed by extreme fatigue, maybe go to the doctor and maybe get your iron checked because it was not a fun time. And fatigue was only the first symptom. And I just had fatigue for a good month. And I don't know if you guys do this, but I'm constantly I don't want to be a hypochondriac and think that I'm dying. So I'm always oh, I'm sure it's something else. Pretty much anytime that you have any kind of illness and you're a woman, being pregnant or being on your period are also possibilities, or dying. So it's just kind of is it a really big deal or is it not a big deal at all? And so I think for a month and a half, I was just feeling really tired. And not tired as in I haven't had my cup of coffee yet, or tired as in I wish I had slept more, but I mean doing anything, even thinking, because I work from home and just at a computer typing, but the mental energy that work took. Essentially, I felt like I would wake up every day after my full 7 hours of sleep, but I feel I would wake up with my my battery charged to 50% instead of 100, and then everything that I did throughout the day, whether it's working, walking around my house, talking to a friend, it took twice as much energy as usual. So I was just getting really tired really fast, and I was only able to work for 2 to 3 hours a day. And it started just with this fatigue where I could do something for a couple hours and then I would have to take a nap. I was taking a lot of naps. And after a week where I napped every day, I was something's wrong here. Before I started taking the naps, I was kind of okay, I think that this could be the weather. It could be that I just got back from a trip and I got 30,000 steps every day. It could be that I had people visiting me and I'm an introvert, so there just were too many people around and I needed to recharge my social battery. It could be allergies, I don't know. But I do not take naps. So when I started to take a nap every day, it was my first red flag of oh no, something's wrong with me. And then other symptoms of anemia are confusion, inability to pay attention. And as you guys know, I'm a project manager. I'm super on top of everything. I am the person at work really in all aspects of life, but it's my job to organize everybody else and to know where everything is. And I was really dropping the ball at work, just forgetting things. And I was in meetings and my team was are you okay? You don't seem, you're a little out of it today. What's going on? And I was I'm really tired. I think I need to take a nap. And I literally, in the middle of the day would just go take a nap and then pop back up and then was able to work normal for an hour. And then it would happen again. Also, I was having confusion with texting. I couldn't remember where the letters on my phone were. I had to really focus and stare at them to type a message to people. And that was really difficult. And then I started getting tingling in my fingers and toes, which is due to a oxygen deficiency in the brain that's caused by not having enough iron. And then also getting really cold, in your extremities, where all these issues that I was having. I did go to the doctor. They gave me an iron infusion, so that I did have to sit for 90 minutes to get the IV. And the nurse told me that a really common symptom is needing to chew ice or craving to eat dirt. I did not have either of those things. And now that I'm thinking about this, I'm like, what do you mean by craving dirt? Do you mean like I'm outside digging in my yard and shoving dirt in my face? Or do you just mean like, I would really like to eat something earthy? Like I should have asked more questions, but I did not have that symptom. But I mostly am just throwing the PSA out there because I did talk to a lot of people who talked about having experienced something similar and didn't know that there was something that you could do about it. So like if that happens to you, go to the doctor. So that's what I've been dealing with as a preface to hopping into our goals and why I haven't made progress, because I've been too tired to do pretty much anything. I have made progress though since I last recorded an episode. I have outlined my entire book. I actually, I don't remember if the outline was done when I recorded the last episode. So maybe I already said that. But I have outlined the entire book, and so now I'm going through. I have this beat sheet that breaks down every beat in a novel, and a beat doesn't necessarily correspond to a scene or a chapter. A beat can be something like the opening, and the opening can be just your opening scene, or it can be multiple chapters. It's kind of up to you is how you want to set it up. But so basically there are 15 beats in a novel, and there are so many beats in each act, and like the beats have to happen at certain points in the story for it to like work well and be effective. So I have all that outlined, and so now I'm going back to Act 1, Beat 1, and actually writing the scenes for that, and then we'll move on to Beats 2 and 3, and so I've written like 4 or 5 scenes now that I'm very proud of and very happy with, and I have graduated from just editing everything that I wrote before every time I sit down, so I'm working on that, which is very exciting, and I also am intentionally going to a coffee shop for an hour or two once a week to make sure that I have that dedicated time, and then I'm leaving my house to do it so that I don't get distracted by like, maybe I'll watch TV, maybe I'll call this person. Like, nope, I'm going to sit at the coffee shop for the designated time and spend that time working on my book. And so far, that's been working for me, so I'm very excited about it. What I'm learning from God right now, this is an interesting season. I love when God uses like multiple things and multiple people, like when something shows up multiple times in different aspects of my life and I'm like, ooh, God's talking to me. Like that's always really exciting. So I would say the blessing in the iron deficiency is that for the first time in my life, I was literally incapable of responding to certain people about certain things at certain times. And I've mentioned on here before how I have friends who will say like, I don't have the emotional energy to like give to this conversation right now. Like it's not you, it's me kind of thing. And I get it and I appreciate the candor, but it's always very frustrating to me because I cannot relate. Because I am the type of person that is like, if my close friend needs me, I will drop everything. And I am just like, what do you need? Like, if I love you and we're in a fight, I don't need sleep, I don't need food until we figure out the thing. Like, I will stay on the phone all night long until we have figured it out and moved past it. Whereas, like, other people in my life, like, when it gets to a certain hour of the night, they will just fall asleep. Like, they could not stay up if they wanted to, if they tried. And I am just like, I'm energized by the conversation and the person on the other end of it, and what the need between us is. Like, that in itself will keep me up. And I have to like choose to pause it and go to sleep or to do something else. And I think I've also shared on here a little bit how like if I am in distress or like if I'm not really in the mood and a friend calls me and they're in distress and they like really need me to focus on their thing, even if I want to focus on my thing, like I can totally just pause my thing and focus on their thing and get off the phone. And if they don't have the energy to hear about my thing or they don't ask about it, I'm like, whatever, I'll go to someone else for that or I'll deal with it by myself. But so then I expect other people to be able to do that for me, and I get really upset when they can't. And I feel like I'm sure I asked God for this. Like I definitely prayed, like, can you help me relate to these friends of mine better? Because I want to stop getting angry with them when they don't have the physical or emotional energy to give to me. and where I feel like I need to be the center of their universe, and I know that that's not realistic, like help me to understand so that I'm not upset. And I feel like I have that now, because I definitely, like, I literally could not respond to people. I had so little energy for such a small amount of time each day that I really, really had to prioritize who got the energy. And you guys, I've never had so many unread messages in my phone and in my email in my life, like, because there was so much stuff that I just couldn't. I was like, I'm too tired. Like, texting is physically hard, even to like push the call button. Like, I needed the other person on the end of the call to be in a very specific way, because I just did not have a lot of time and a lot of energy. And so I feel like that was God answering my prayer of like, I want to know my friends better, and I want to be able to experience something that they've experienced in a way so that I'm able to empathize better. And I haven't had a whole lot of experiences since getting my bag of iron and recovering. I haven't had a whole lot of experience with friends like saying like, hey, I don't have the energy for you. But I hope that when it next happens, I will be like, okay, I get it, and not be super upset with them. And then I think another blessing in not having my usual energy was that I had to trust a lot of people at work, and with volunteering with my church. I had to trust a lot of people to do things that I usually do. I had to delegate way more things than usual. And in cases where I wasn't able to delegate, or somebody else wasn't able to step in to do it, then the thing just had to wait until I got better. And so that was very refreshing, because nobody died and nobody got mad at me, and nothing caught fire and nothing exploded. And it was like the stuff just sat there and waited for me to handle it when I was able, or it got handled by somebody else. And it just was so not the end of the world. And so I am carrying that into now that I have my energy back. I'm like, okay, but I still don't have to do everything. And then one of my friends sent me like this meme about like checking on your strong friends, because people don't check on the strong ones. And someone checked on their strong friend, and they responded like, to most people, I'm not a person, I'm a resource. And they were like, I feel like this resonates with you. And I like almost started crying. It resonated so much. And so then they sent me like this video that was talking about like people like me who feel like I need to answer everybody immediately all the time, and I always need to show up, and I can't ever say no. Like, it's really like like I'm looking for love there. Like, I'm thinking, if I respond to everybody immediately, if I'm super available and super helpful and super reliable, and if I am always there for my friends and I always drop everything when they need me, then they're going to do that back for me. And they're going to love me because I'm so consistent and I'm so reliable, and that has just consistently not happened. And then I'm always distressed because I'm like, oh, I've been such a good friend. Like, why is no one being a good friend back to me? And it's been like this fear that if I don't do that, people won't love me. But a lot of the time, like, if I don't respond quickly, then people will just go to someone else, because at the end of the day, they don't really need me. They need what I can give them, which of course at work, when I manage a team and it is my job to provide certain things to my team, you know, that's one thing. But there are a whole lot of other people at work who have learned that like, Samantha's organized and Samantha knows where things are, and like, I'm not on her team, and it's not her job to know where my stuff is, but she knows where everyone's stuff is, and it's easier for me to just ask her than for me to learn it myself. And I'm enabling all of these people by just answering the question, as opposed to helping them like, by saying, no, you need to learn your job, you need to figure that out for yourself. And I think just acknowledging that I can't be everything to everyone at all the time, and also acknowledging that like, this is not making people love me. This is just making me feel more isolated, because so many people in my life view me as a resource. Like, I recently wrote down like the number of people that I am in contact with on a regular basis across like my job, volunteering with my church, my friends. It's absurd, like the number of people that I interact with on a daily and a weekly basis. And so I felt like writing all of it down and looking at all of it and like talking it through with my therapist, she was like, it is unsustainable to have this many. You can't have a relationship with every single one of these people. That's not possible. So like who of this too large of a circle, like who are the people that you're really going to focus on and really build with? And I felt like it was just permission from God to say like, hey, you're really doing too much, and I expect you to have a small circle. I want you to have a small circle. It's healthy to have a small circle. So like, you spent so much of your life trying to get a bigger circle so that you don't become a burden to the few people that are like your very inner circle, but you need to just trust that you're not a burden to them. And those are your people. Like, those are the people that I have given you. Those are the people that I have given you to, for you to do life with. And you, like, other people will join for different seasons along the way, but just like go ahead and focus on your little inner circle and stop trying to let everyone and their mother be your best friend, because it doesn't work. I think God also used the anemia to help me get better at setting boundaries. I think I've always struggled with that because I'm a people pleaser. And so I'm a kind of person where I kind of need to be truly unable to do the thing in order to not do the thing. But I think being unable to do whatever I was being asked to do for so long, and people functioning perfectly fine without me, helped me to be like, you know what? I actually don't have to do that. So if I don't want to do that, then next time I'm asked to do it, and my answer is I don't want to, I'm going to just stick with I don't want to and like not do it anyway. Go find somebody else. So this was a really long intro into the topic today that I don't feel like editing down, so sorry. But the topic today is relationship before conversation, and just kind of tying together everything that I've been learning in the past weeks of like keeping a smaller circle, focusing on certain people, and just really nurturing those relationships well, as opposed to trying to juggle like over 100 relationships. And I heard this quote from Lisa Harper. I think it's been 2 weeks now, to be honest with you guys. I'm sorry if it's been longer than that. But she was a guest on Preston Sprinkle's Theology in the Raw recently, and you guys know how I love Lisa Harper. And so she said, if you don't have the basis of some kind of relationship with someone, then trying to dive deep into a conversation about something that matters is almost impossible, because you don't know where that other person is starting from. I feel like she's talking about the difference between communication and connection, right? Like two people can sit and have a conversation. And what is it that keeps them from connecting, right? That's kind of what I do all the time. One of my friends told me recently that I analyze relationships more than anybody he knows. And sorry, that's like my whole personality. It's the whole reason I have this podcast. Like, yes, I do analyze relationships all the time, because I really want to be a good friend and a good daughter and a good sister, and I just want to be the best that I can possibly be, and I feel like I have to understand what's working and what's not so that I can get better. And I feel like listening to Lisa's interview, like I was really gathering a sense of like, this is why it's so easy to offend each other. And this is why it's so easy to misread people, because we're trying to connect with people before we have earned the right to go deep with them. And as you guys know, I hate small talk. So like, I personally am guilty of this, because I like to get right to it. Like, I like to go there. I'm like, let's dive in and talk about our childhood dramas the first day that we met. Like, I don't want to do the warm-up time. And this causes problems on both ends, because on the one hand, I don't really need to know you well or to have deep trust in you to share things with you. I'm very much like, I'm an open book. I don't really have secrets. I kind of never met a stranger. I'm just like, hey, like if we vibe, let's vibe. And if you do something with the stuff that I tell you, like if you're gonna like deeply betray me, then I'm like, all right, you're not my friend and I'm gonna move on. Like I'm not sitting here analyzing like, why did that happen? Oh no, I can never trust anyone. I can't open up. It's like, no, like I trust people until they give me a reason not to. And I know a lot of people who go through life doing the opposite. Like they don't trust people until they give them a reason. And I think that it doesn't have to be either extreme. I think you can like pull back and focus in. But I've noticed that, like, on the one hand, me sharing a lot really early, like, it makes people feel very close to me because they're like, oh my gosh, she must, like, really trust me and really love me and we're really connecting because she shared that thing. And then, like, I'm not necessarily feeling that on my end. I'm kind of just like, I mean, I would tell a stranger that I'm having a bad day. Like, I don't have a whole lot that I need to hold back from people until they give me a reason to hold it back. But it does often give the other person this illusion that we are closer than we are. And then like that's a misread, but then it's also can be a misread on my part where it's like, hey, that person didn't earn the right to like go that deep with me and I just gave it to them. And then I get really upset when they don't understand me. I am like, oh my gosh, I just bared my whole soul to you. Like, you know exactly who I am now. And the other person's like, we've had one conversation. Like, it takes time to get to know each other. And Lisa Harper mentioned like how it's almost impossible to have a conversation about something that matters if you don't have any relationship. And even as a person who like wants to dive deep very quickly and will share a lot, I still definitely agree with her because I'm not sharing my whole life story with like any stranger off the street. It's more like people that I meet. Like I would say if I meet you at work to where we're interacting regularly, like if I'm on a call with somebody at work and we're like waiting for other people to join and they ask how my weekend was, like if I'm not interested in getting to know that person or letting them get to know me, or I feel like the vibes are off, or I'm like, I just want this to be a working relationship, I'm not going to give them a whole lot of information. But if they're a person that like I feel like we vibe well, I feel safe with them, I'll give them a little more information about how my weekend went or what's going on. So it's more kind of that where, and then through that it's just like, okay, do we keep sharing with each other? Are we now having like random calls that have nothing to do with work to hang out? And that's kind of when we get to the relationship. But at that initial conversation, when we don't have a relationship, it's like, like I've decided that with my boss, I just want it to be about work. Like I'm really not interested in being friends or like knowing anything about each other's personal lives. Like that's just a boundary that I prefer to have with my boss, is that we have a working relationship and outside of this work, like we don't speak. But so that's the kind of thing where without that though, it is more difficult because I work for a company that like really is very people first and like really wants to focus on people and wants to make sure that everyone's okay. And so like my boss will ask a lot of questions to be like interested in my life. And I would say that that's having a conversation about something that matters in terms of like, knowing about my family and where I live. And like if there was a natural disaster in the area and if I'm okay, and like genuinely wondering if I'm okay, not just like, hey, are you making it to work? And it is difficult without that, like since there's no foundational friendship, I'm very much like, why am I being asked these questions? Like it feels like you're probing, it feels like you're prying, and this is not stuff that I have agreed to share with you. And that goes into the piece about how we're easily offended, right? Because there's a kind of thing where my boss does this thing where in an effort to connect with me, he will always ask what my shirt says. Like I almost always have a sweatshirt on that is either from my church or Disney that has some like Disney quote or logo or like a Bible verse on it. And my boss is an atheist, which doesn't bother me, but it's always awkward when he says like, what does your shirt say? And I'm like, it's a Bible verse. And then he's like, oh, and he doesn't know how to respond when church comes up because he doesn't want to be offensive, but he also doesn't want to talk about it because he's an atheist and not interested. And so for me, like, I would feel like seen and known by him if he would be like, all right, I've asked her what her shirt says and it's been a Bible verse or something church related enough times and then it's gotten awkward that I should stop doing this. But what he's doing is he's trying to connect with me. Like he's not trying to be awkward or weird. He's trying to find like something that we can talk about to prove that he cares about me beyond our working relationship. But like I'm getting, I wouldn't say offended, but I'm getting irritated because I am like, you don't want to talk about what my shirt says and I don't want to talk about what my shirt says. So can we like not be fake and can we just focus on the work? And I think that's where like the misread is coming in, because I don't think that he's reading the fact that like this makes me uncomfortable and I don't want to do it. But I'm also potentially misreading why he's doing it. Like, I think that I know that he's trying to connect, but I also am feeling like this must not be as awkward to him as it is to me because he keeps doing it. But at the end of the day, it's because we don't have like a foundational relationship to be able to talk about things that matter. Like, we have our work to talk about, and that's the thing that, like, that's the whole reason we're even having a meeting, is because we work together. And without that, like, the whole thing dies. And when I say things that matter, like, we can zoom this out real big and say, like, politics, for example, right? And if you have an opinion that your political party is the good one and everybody else who is a part of the other political party is an idiot or mean or terrible or hate-filled or whatever it is, if that's like your opinion of everyone affiliated with the other political party, then the two of you are not ever going to be able to talk about politics, when it's totally possible that somebody who voted for the other person or claims to be a member of the other political party, they may not have any information. They may have not done any research. They may have voted off of one ad that they saw one time. They may have voted off of a single social media post that they saw one time. And maybe you're hearing this and you're thinking like, well, if they're dumb enough to vote and not do research, then they don't deserve friends. Like, and if you feel that way, again, like, you're not going to be able to ever meet and get to know these people. So I think that to discuss politics with people that you don't know well, even if it's family, like a lot of people say that like holidays are difficult because it's like the once a year that the whole family gets together and there's the random uncle that's always talking about politics, but you don't really have a relationship with the uncle because you only see him at Thanksgiving. And then it's like, well, yeah, why are you trying to talk politics with this man that essentially is a stranger? Where if you truly care about somebody, like, imagine one of the closest people in the world to you, like a close friend, maybe it's a parent, but somebody that you're really close with. And imagine if the two of you have never discussed politics and then you found out that they voted the opposite way that you did. You know, if this is your best friend and somebody really close to you and you're like, wow, I did not know that about you, that now I'm confused, like I have questions. And, you know, that totally could end your friendship, but I would think that the two of you would at least be able to sit down and be like, why did you vote for that one? And have reasonings behind that. And even if it comes out that the person says like, you know what, I just like randomly filled in a bubble, or I didn't even look at the thing, I just did whatever, I didn't do any research. Like, if your friend is saying like, this is really important to me that people who vote are well educated, and there are all of these resources available to us today. There are so many websites that you can go to read up on the issues and where the candidates stand on the issues, and like, you know, the candidate that you voted for is like fundamentally trying to ruin people like you for this reason, and you can like lay all of that out for them. Like, if the two of you are close friends or like very evolved in each other's lives, you're gonna be able, and it's not even necessarily about swaying each other's opinion, but you're gonna be able to understand where the other person is coming from. It might be like we're from totally opposite sides of the track. Like, we grew up totally differently. We have different things that are important to us. Like, this is important to me, that's important to you, and that put us on opposite sides of the ballot, but that doesn't mean that we're not both good people and still like wanting to talk and hang out with each other. Whereas like if there's a stranger on the street that like screams some profanity about people that are the opposite political party as them, and you're like, all right, that person's hateful, and then you hate them back, and then you just walk away, and you never, like, you don't have the relationship to be able to like sit and talk about it. And I think that's what she's talking about when she's like, if you want to have a conversation about something that matters, you have to have like some basis of some kind of a relationship. There has to be some goal, some desire on both ends to have a relationship and to keep a relationship. And if you don't have that, then you have no idea where the other person is starting from. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know why they think what they think or why they feel what they feel. And you really need to know that in order to have a conversation about anything that's deeply meaningful.
And whether you are a person who loves small talk or loves the deep stuff, or you're somewhere in between, or you're a person who keeps everything really close to your chest and needs people to like really prove themselves before you open up, or you're the kind of person that opens up right away, I don't think it particularly matters. I don't think that there's a right or wrong or a good or bad. I think it's just important to know what kind of person you are and to learn what kind of person you're talking to and wanting to build a relationship with, so you have those foundations and like places to move forward. The reason I titled this episode after another lyric from All Too Well, which I think I've used too many times before, but who cares? It's my podcast. But part of what I love about the "you kept me like a secret, but I kept you like an oath" is just like the idea of this relationship that means like there's two people in the relationship, but it means very different things to them, and feeling like you are way more invested than the other person. And I think that happens a lot. Sometimes the two people are equally invested, but one or both of them is not able to communicate how invested they are to the other person. Like, it's not coming across. So going back to the, like, it's easy to get offended or it's easy to misread, because a lot of times we're expecting people to read our minds and we're not being clear about what we want and what we need. And we're either hoping that like our thoughts are loud enough that they just intuitively know and understand, or we're like, oh, well, if we just spend more time together, if we just keep doing what we're doing, but we really need to actually voice, like, this is what makes me feel seen. This is what makes me feel uncomfortable. I've had those moments a lot. I think particularly when I have been angry with like a friend or a significant other, and or they've been angry with me, I have always felt really loved by the people who would stay up really late to work it out with me. Like the ones that were like, I'm really tired and I really want to go to sleep, but I can see this is important to you and you're still frustrated and you're not going to let this go until we understand each other. So like, let's just keep working at it. Versus people who are like, either like literally fall asleep while I'm talking, or they're like, I have to sleep, like, let's pick this up later. That's when I feel really unloved, because I am like, I'm like, I'm a secret to you and you're an oath to me. Like, I will do anything. Like, I'm here, I'm in this, and like, you're checking out. And that's not necessarily checking out to them. That's not necessarily what they were trying to communicate, but that's just what it felt like to me. So in those situations, I mean, at the time I didn't have this skill, but now if I'm having the difficult conversation and the other person appears to be checking out, that's for me to clarify, like, is this really about sleep, or is this you trying to get away from me? Are you not invested in fixing this or building something with me? Like, are you just running away, or do you legitimately just want to take a break and refresh and try again later? I think our society and culture struggles with this so much because of the information age and the technology and the instant gratification. You know, like, everything is so immediate now, which like, I am guilty of this too. Like, we want instant relationships. Like, I think that the time that relationships take feels slow It feels inconvenient, especially like if you date someone for like, I think more than 3 years at this point, and then you break up. A lot of people are like, that was a waste of my time. And it's like a lot of people that I talk to like don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to open up because they're like, well, what if I share something with this person and they betray me? Or like, what if I do this and then they hurt me? And I'm just like, yeah, that's part of it. Like that's part of life is trusting people and loving people and then them betraying that trust or them not loving you back. And then, you have to decide, like, are you going to forgive them? Are you going to repair it? Are you going to work on it? Or was that just an example where it's like, all right, you showed me who you are and you're not a person that I want to know. So I move on. And maybe you have to mourn that. Maybe it didn't last long enough for you to get deeply emotional attached and it's something you can easily move on from. But I think that's something for us to note, is that just in this age of immediacy, like things that take more time, I think is harder for us to do. And then I also think that a lot of people today like don't know how to build relational trust because too many people won't go to therapy, which I will just say again, please go to therapy. Please, please, please. I beg you. You'll love it, I promise. But I think a lot of people, they just want to fix things because they want to keep everything light and fun and happy. So anytime you tell them about a problem, they're just immediately being like, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Do that, because they don't want to hear about the problem. They want the problem to go away. Where, I have one friend that's been going through something for a while, and something that she says to me a lot is like, oh, I know that I'm so annoying. Like, I keep bothering you with the same thing. And I am like, you are never bothering me because I love you. And I want to know what is going on in your life and how you're doing. And the fact that you've been struggling for the same thing for a while, like, so what? You're human. Like you are learning and growing. You're not stuck. You're becoming a new person every day, and you're processing through different decisions that you want to make. And like, as long as you might be struggling with this thing for the rest of your life, I will still be here. Like I am not annoyed by you because I love you so much. Like I'm not exaggerating when I say I am so obsessed with all of my close friends, and I just want to like put all of you in a bubble and like keep you in my house forever. But I know like you would hate that, so I won't do it. But I think that's another thing that's confusing for people. I feel like all of us have gotten so used to people trying to fix our problems that if someone's not trying to fix it and it's like, hey, I literally just want to be with you. Like even me is like trying to be loved by people by responding quickly and giving everyone what they need all the time and then getting upset that they don't love me back. It's because at the end of the day, I don't really want people to like me because I respond quickly and I'm a resource to them and I give them what they need. Like I want people that aren't asking me for anything. I want people that are like, hey, I just want to be with you. Like I just want to sit and enjoy each other's presence. And that does not happen for me often or really at all. I feel like I have to instigate most interactions with people that I want to do that with, and I just like wish that they would do it back more often, but I'm not going about it in a way that communicates that to people. And then kind of the other side of the fix it people is the debate people. Like a lot of people, instead of building relational trust, they just want to debate. So back to the political example, like a lot of people are energized by like how angry politics makes people. And they may not even actually have opposite views as you, but just because you get so charged up when a certain candidate or issue is mentioned, they just like to poke the bear, and just like the fight is what like fun to them, and that's what they want to do. And so I think ultimately, like if your goal is relational and the other person's goal is debating, then there's not a point in having that conversation. If both of your goal is to debate, great, fine, go make things explode. If both of your goal is relational, then you can sit down and you can have a conversation if you're legitimately trying to build that trust. But there's really no point in talking to people who are not invested in building the trust with you. In terms of like how to practically practice this and do something differently, it's to ask yourself, like, have I built enough trust with this person to go there? Like if you're having a conversation and you are either wanting to move it from the surface level to something deeper, or you are in the process of doing that, but it's like you're feeling like friction or anxiety, or like you're going deep and they're not coming with you, or they're going deep and you're not wanting to go with them. Like, just pause and say, like, have we built enough trust to go there? And if not, then pull back out from it. You can always slow down a conversation with someone by being like, hey, can I ask where you're coming from with that? Like, that's a great question. If you're feeling offended, like if somebody says something to you and your immediate reaction is anger, like if you feel like they are putting you down, and if you're just, pause and think like, okay, I don't know this to be a person that like puts people down or tries to hurt people. So like, if I am getting angry or I am getting anxious, like that's on me. So clearly there's something that I don't understand here. So let me pause and ask, like, can I ask where you're coming from? Like, can you clarify? Trying to repeat back to them what you heard and what you think they meant by it is also really helpful. Maybe you are, if it's in some environment where like a lot of people are sharing a lot, like I'm thinking if it's like a like leadership camp that I used to go to in college, where it was just like team building all day long and like deep questions, some people would say like, I'm not super comfortable like sharing because I don't really know you guys. Like, I'd love to get to know you more before we do that. And so we would always accommodate that person and make sure that like everybody felt comfortable with where the conversation was going. For the hard conversations this week, I'm going to give you guys an example of like one that did not go well because we didn't have that like foundation of relational trust, and then one that did. So the first one was a work thing where essentially I had like a manager at work like come to me with like something that they had heard from somebody else that gave them a negative impression of me. And so they like reached out to me to address this like negative thing that they thought that I said or did. And they came into the conversation with like, you did this thing and you're not a good person. And it was like just very negative and accusatory. And I was super like hurt and upset by it because I was like, you don't know me. Like, you didn't take any steps to verify that what was said or done was actually said or done, that it was actually said or done by me. Like, you didn't reach out to get my side of the story. This is all completely secondhand information that you're receiving. And like, any interaction that you and I have had like directly together one-on-one, in my opinion, has always been pleasant. Like, let me know if you disagree. And so ultimately, I think what we learned in the conversation was that like we experience each other in a very specific setting, which is like, this is our relationship and this is how we act together. And the way that I think about it is like social media profiles, right? So like, if you have a Facebook and a Twitter and an Instagram, like there's kind of a different part of your personality or persona that is showcased on each of those platforms, right? So it's not that you're not being yourself, but you're being like a different version of yourself, like based on the people that you interact with on that specific platform. So I look at it the same way as like some of us act differently, like with our families versus with our friends versus at work. And I'm not saying like that we're putting on a front or pretending to be someone we're not, because that's something different. But I'm saying like, because of the comfort level, like I am most myself with my friends, and I'm a more polished version of myself, like less relaxed, I would say, with my family, because my family has this like, I think, higher view of who they think I should be than my friends do. My family's more judgmental when it comes to my mistakes or my shortcomings, whereas my friends, I feel like, fully accept everything about me, like good and bad. And so at work, of course, it's like people are experiencing me in a professional setting. So I'm always going to be more polished and professional at work than I am when I'm relaxed with my friends. And so I was explaining that to this person where I was like, you're never going to fully know me because you and I are not friends. Like, I'm not going to call you and tell you about my day. I'm not going to talk to you all relaxed like I talk to my best friend. Like, I'm going to be this like professional, polished version of me because you are a colleague that's in a management position. And like, that is how we interact with each other. So to expect me to be any different like really doesn't make sense. But at the same time, I feel like you should be going off of how I have always interacted with you and not off of this like third party information that you heard from somebody else who has a very different relationship with me. And so we ended things like totally cordially. It's not that it turned into like a serious issue, but I just think the initial having to deal with like, I thought this person knew me better than they do, and processing through like, this is on both ends here. Like, it's both, that person should not have taken the other person's word for it. They should have come to me in a different way. But I also should have acknowledged that like, I've only shown a certain version of myself to this person, and I'm probably only ever going to show that version of myself to this person. So they're not going to know me as well as I might like them to. But then on the other side, I did have a really awesome conversation with a friend that like was anxious to tell me about like a relationship that she had had because she was feeling like people were going to judge her. And I was just able to say like, you know what, I love you and I just want to be like a part of your life and I want to be here for you, and I am not here to judge you. Like, I absolutely do not care who you date or why or whatever. Like, I don't have to like the person, you have to like them. So like, if you're happy and you're excited, then great, go for it. Like, I'm here to listen, but I don't want you to ever feel like because I don't 100% agree with all of your decisions, or I don't think that that's the best relationship for you, that I am going to judge you or yell at you or like not listen to you. And so I feel like we went into that conversation, she was really worried that like I was going to judge her and be mad about like what she had to tell me. And she was able to say that like right at the front of the call. Like, I have something that I want to share with you, but I'm really anxious about it because I think that you're going to be mad and I think that you're going to judge me, and that's why I haven't told anyone. And I was just like, hey, I'm not going to be mad and I'm not going to judge you. Like, I might think that you're insane, but who cares? I'm insane too. Like, we all have issues. So I don't claim to be perfect. I'm not here to pass judgment on anybody. That's not my job. And I think that just her like voicing the anxieties up top gave me the opportunity to like know how she was feeling and to help kind of ease that. But also that helped me with how to behave and move throughout the conversation to make sure that I constantly reiterated like, this is a safe place for you to share. So I just want to challenge you guys this week to think about different places in your life where you may be diving deep without the connection and need to like build more relationship before having the hard conversation. Or the opposite, where you may be like you may have the connection and it's time to go deeper and you have built that trust, and that's maybe what the other person is looking for, but you're letting like fear or anxiety like hold you back from going there with that person, and like they're really wanting to like build that deep friendship with you. And like, I just invite you to take the next step, have the trust building convo. To close out with what I'm watching right now, oh my gosh, you guys, a million things. I'm going to try to do this quickly. I'm actually going to see Mission Impossible 8 again tomorrow night because I saw it last week and I truly don't know if I love it or hate it. I have a lot of feelings and I don't know what to rate it. So I'm going to see it again to solidify my thoughts on that. Last night I saw Jane Austen Wrecked My Life, which was hilarious. I don't know what I was expecting. I went in totally blind. I didn't read anything about it, and I really, really enjoyed it. Like, I laughed a lot. I also recently binge watched Pulse on Netflix, Netflix's version of Grey's Anatomy, which I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about that as well. I will be shocked if they get a season 2 because they gravely mishandled their main storyline, which was very unfortunate. But I love all the actors, and I did enjoy it enough to watch the entire season in one day. So I don't really want to recommend it, but I also don't really want to not recommend it. But now that I have finished that, I do need a new show. So let me know what you guys are watching and what I should be watching. Okay, bye.
I'm not here to sugarcoat, life's already a bumpy road. Too much shelter causes pain, let's just be real honest. Things are gonna knock you down, avoidance will not help you out. Let's talk it through here, me and you, let's keep it real honest.